Welcome to the Sewing Whisperer. In this video, we're looking at how to use the selection tools in Adobe Illustrator. Let's take a look at selection tools. Just a side note that the file that I'm working on was produced in a previous video, and I'll pop the link for this in the description. It'll probably also come up here. Just explaining how I drew these shapes and the layers that I've set up down in here. And also, if you would like to set your screen up with the panels that I have open on the side here, then there's another video that I'll link down below as well. So before we go too far, we'll get the black selection tool and move our shapes around. So I'm just placing these shapes, so click and drag. So this particular tool is called the selection tool, and the shortcut key is V. I always refer to it as the black arrow. The one beside it is the white arrow, and it's called the direct selection tool, and the shortcut key is A. So let's look at the black selection tool first. If we click on something and drag around, that's selecting the whole object. Let's make a copy of this square. With it selected, if you hold Option or Alt, you'll notice you get a little white arrow behind on the cursor, behind the black arrow. That means we're going to make a copy. So keep holding the Option or Alt, click, hold and drag down and let go, and you've made a copy. Now we're going to empty the fill out of this square. So where the red fill is the active tool, it's in front, click this little red line and that will empty out the fill. Now if we decide we want to select this particular square, if we click in the middle, it's empty, so we can't just click in the middle and move it. We have to click on the line to be able to move that square around. So these are easy to select because they're filled with something. This one not so easy, you've got to click right on the square. Now if I decided I wanted to click two of these objects, I would click one, hold Shift and click another one. I could keep holding Shift and click another one, and then I could move those objects around. I could also marquee over them, so I could marquee, so that means click and drag over everything, and I've selected everything, so now everything will move. I don't have to include the whole shape when I marquee, so I could marquee from about here, click, hold and drag down. You can see I'm not including the entire shape, but that will have selected everything. So by just marqueeing over part of the shape with the black selection tool, you can still move it around. Now let's take a look at the direction selection tool. So it's the white one, and what you can do is click on one point, one anchor point, drag, and that will move just that point around. I'm going to undo that step, so Command or Control Z, or I could go Edit, Undo, Move, but the shortcut key is much quicker, so Command or Control Z to undo that move. Now if I click on the top line of the square, I could use my arrows and arrow that up. So I've selected that whole line, and then I can arrow it back down, or I could marquee over those 2 points. Now when I marquee over those 2 points, notice that these two squares are solid, whereas these two squares are white in the center. So that means these two are selected, but these ones aren't. So then I can click and drag and move that around. Now circles or curved lines are a little bit different. So if I click on here, with the direct selection tool, I can now see my handles, and when I click on those handles, I can move them around and do things with them. So I could also click between 2 points, and then I'll just get the handles that are relevant to those 2 points. I could also click on that point, get this handle, and before I start to click and drag, I can hold Option or Alt, and that will just affect that handle. And then I could do the same on the other side. Hold Option or Alt, click, and then I've just affected that handle. Then I could click down here and drag that down. I could also come over here to the pen tool is the active tool. If I go down and select the anchor point tool, I could click on there and that would remove those handles. Okay, I'll get the direct selection tool again. Now let's look at the star. If I marquee over this corner, you can see there's a little circle here. And by clicking on that little circle, I can drag that in and that would curve that corner. I'll undo that. If I get my selection tool and select the whole star, so I'll click away in the white area and then click back again, and you can see I've got that circle again. If I click and drag now, all of the points will curve. Okay, so hopefully that's given you a bit of an understanding on how those selection tools work in Adobe Illustrator. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and give this a thumbs up if you'd like to see more videos.